Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you all had a great breakfast and an inspiring talk from our governor here in Hawaii. And I want to welcome you to our opening session of our community engagement and inclusion track of the ACM West region. We're here for online community engagement using social media and apps effectively. My name is Keith Tebow. I'm the Director of Television Services and Director of Fall River Community Media, right across the street, Fall River, Massachusetts. I'm also a member of the ACM National Board. We are all glad to be here. There's two other National Board members here with us, Barbara Chisholm, also from Massachusetts, and one of our panelists. Yes, of course. And Michelle Almarati, one of our panelists. You'll be meeting Michelle very soon. Again, I'm the Director of Fall River Community Media in Massachusetts. I've been involved in community media for now over 20 years, even though I'm only 29 years old. And it's my pleasure to be here to facilitate today's discussion. We want to make it interactive. All of our panelists will have presentations, and what we'll do is they'll present their presentation, and then we'll have a period of questions on those specific presentations, and of course we'll have plenty of time at the end for general discussion and general presentations. First thing I want to do is maybe if just have a call of anything that you would like to see specifically come out of this workshop. Anything specific? Yeah, what would that be? And I'll repeat it.
Specifically would be how to engage our viewers with social media. So
Okay.
in real time.
Okay, how to engage your viewers with social media, even in real time.
In real time.
Okay, okay, great. So that'll be something that I'm sure one of our panelists will be bringing up during their presentations. Let me introduce, one other.
Oh, just, the online engagement, we have X number of friends through our social
Okay.
media
Yep.
thing, and how to boost the engagement.
Okay, how to boost engagement with your current online, with your current social media followers. Okay, great. All right. Those definitely will come up. One more?
How do we get new followers?
How do we even get new followers in social media? We got you covered here, right? Let me quickly read the biographies of our panelists and we'll get started. But one thing I do want to mention, when we do come to question and answers, if you could, please make your way up to the microphone, which will be in the middle of the room, because we are recording this session, and it'd be great to get the audio of your questions directly onto the video. So we would ask you could do that, help us out when you do have questions in between each presentation. Our first presenter is Nicole Fisher. Nicole is founder of the Skywriting by Nico in Pukalani, Hawaii. Whew, I had to practice that. Nicole's company's mission is to support small business owners and professionals reach their marketing, networking, and sales goals with the aid of social media marketing, networking, and training. So let's first welcome Nicole Fisher.
I am so thankful to be here today. I am so honored to be here. And it's one of my favorite subjects to talk about is social media and how to use it to build your business. So what I'm going to be talking to you guys today about is content. Most of my clients that I have a hard time with content, and they need to create the content. You folks have a lot of content, and you need to be able to funnel that content. Can everybody hear me okay? How about now? Yes? Is this on? Okay. How's that?
Get closer.
All right. So let me reiterate what I just said. One of my most favorite things to talk about is social media and how people can grow their businesses. With what you guys have today is a lot of content, and you need the ability to be able to funnel the content. So what I'm going to be talking to you today is about just how to do that. And it will cover 6 actual steps of how to manage one piece of content and take it through 1 through 6. So that's what I'll be doing today. My picture that you see here is of beautiful upcountry Maui. And if you get a chance to come over and see it, that would be awesome. You guys would love it. So I'm going to go in and talk about my favorite things. Social media marketing is something that I do every day, and it is not a chore, even though I do it for hundreds of people. I love my job, And if you folks can learn to love what you do with it, you can grow leaps and bounds with your businesses. So I'm a salesperson at heart. So social media is a perfect marketing tool, a great prospecting tool, and an awesome networking tool. So those are the things that I will be discussing today. Using social media as an organization, which is within your organizations, is what I'll be doing, focusing on and leveraging the resources that you have. Social media principles that we have are great for any business. Doesn't matter what type of business you are, we still have to do the same things. We need to promote great content, so you need to be proud of what you're going to be talking about. Engage with the right social medias, the right platforms. Stay connected with your followers and likes, and continue researching what it is they want and need from you. And that is an ongoing conversation that you'll have. It's a great conversation to have, because that way you'll be making people happy along the way and growing as well. So here are my 6. I'll be talking about the sweet spot. Really important piece. The content tilt, building a base, diversifying and harvesting your audience, and then having a call to action. And you can take this with each show. You can take this with each blog post. You could take this with each video. Everything that we're talking about today can be on a larger scale or on a very minor scale, okay? So we're talking about the sweet spot. And it's all about content and formatting. What content is going to work best for the format you have to engage with? Whether it's video on YouTube, whether it's tweets from Twitter, whether it is a daily digest that you guys might have on the radio, it's all the same thing. You have content, and you need to have the right formatting for it. I don't know, do any of you guys do Google Hangouts or anything like that in the station live, a live broadcast with a bunch of people, not just one person? Anybody? Mm-hmm. That would be something awesome to do. And that way, if you were to do something like that, you can get more of an audience just because you have a larger audience that'll be in front of you. Everyone will tell their friends that they're on and automatically get more. The next thing we're doing is talking about the content tilt. And content tilt means what's your programming advantage. So whatever entity you're going to be using, whether it is a video, whether it is a podcast, or video on demand, you have to decide and try to figure out what makes your content different than the rest. That's a really big piece, because that's why we want to watch. We want to know we're getting something really special.
I was thinking about giving examples of something that's special.
You can put it, if you have a show or a video that has to do with the homeless, or having someone who is talking about a women's issue at this point in time. It's not necessarily the subject matter, it's what you do with it. And you have to figure out who your audience is for that subject. And that's the trick, just like what you guys do every day. But this is just on social media, and social media is a lot quicker because we make decisions pretty quick. So let's see here. So we're going to talk about building a base. The way to build a base on social media is to consistently have great content. And once you always have great, some things are going to be losers, and you have to deal with that. But for the most part, you live and you learn. Building a base based on that content is loyalty. So you have people who watch your TV channels, whether they're government or whether they're local. You have YouTube or podcasts, blogs that people subscribe to. What you need to do to build that base is to branch out into the right social media platforms. And that probably is the most difficult thing at first when you think about it, because you think, do I have to be on all of these platforms? And you don't. You have to match the content with the audience. And so there are ways to do that. Diversifying your audience is probably one of the biggest things, and this is how you can do it, is learn from the Pew Research Center, has all sorts of, 'cause I think, 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 'c they have all sorts of reports and numbers on just about anything you can think of for social media. This is one piece that I took from the Pew Research Center. I have a link to it, so when you get these slides, you can go to that link and you can do research on any number of things. But this one is based on American online adults ages 18 plus. And obviously, Facebook is the place to be for some things. We're always on Facebook. I think most of us spend 20 minutes a day on Facebook, whether we want to admit it or not. Yeah, it's true.
That's all?
Yeah,
People are on Facebook right now.
yeah, totally.
So get off.
But it's one of the best places to be because that's where your audience is. Twitter is, I'm surprised Twitter had the least amount, which kind of blew me away. But a lot of adults aren't on Twitter as much as they are on Facebook because they understand Facebook a little bit better. Instagram is incredible. Pinterest is fabulous. And LinkedIn, if you are a networker, this would be the place to be. So you have business, you have Pinterest is all about, for me, vision of sales. Instagram is to the minute as well as Twitter is. Using this link will allow you to find out more information. So you can go there and look at all the goods. Next thing I want to talk about is converting your one-time visitors to subscribers, harvesting your audience. And that is when you have fans who consistently watch and listen and plug into you, that gives you an opportunity to send them to another social media, which allows you to have more engagement. Somebody had the question of engagement. It allows you to have more engagement with a topic that is familiar to this person, but on a different platform. So one of the things that Danielle and I hear all the time is, do I have to be everywhere? And you really don't. You have to be somewhere really doing a great job at that, and then you can grow from there. Most people start off at Facebook, maybe a Facebook business page, YouTube videos, or LinkedIn if you're going to be doing networking, which is one thing you guys could all do. It's excellent. So the goal here is share content on the new platforms to acquire a new audience and gain subscribers. The next thing you want to do is grow your fan base, and the only way you can do that is by asking them to follow, sign up, like, tweet, share, chat, volunteer. The more people are engaged with you in any number of these platforms or even volunteering, that's one mom, one dad, one aunt, one uncle that they're going to be talking about, telling them about what they're doing with you, and it'll open their eyes. Networking, I think, is one of the biggest things that larger corporations miss. Most of us have at least 250 friends or more that we can share all types of things about your business and what specials are coming on and what makes things exciting. So that would be a really great area for y'all. So the last slide I have here today is going over what we just said. We talked about the sweet spot, the content tilt, building a base, diversifying, harvesting your audience, and a call to action. Those things are all extremely important and, again, can be taught or looked at on any program you have, any blog post you have, any subject matter that you're talking about. You can go through these 6 steps and make it happen. So, again, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here. It's quite an honor, and I loved doing the research for this. So you guys have a lot to offer.
Before we get to questions of Nico, I meant to ask the group beforehand, and maybe we can do it with a show of hands. How many of you already have your community media centers on Facebook? Twitter? LinkedIn? 2 hangers on there. Wow. Pinterest? Google Plus? Google Plus? Okay. How about YouTube channels? Yeah. If you have a Google account, you're technically on Google Plus. Okay, I thought that may have been good exercise to just to know where people are. Okay.
Well, it kind of amazed me. When I first moved here, I come from Oregon, and we're quite progressive. with social media and all things internet related. And I found out that 64% of the businesses here were not online. That's huge.
Really?
That's a big, but this room here, it's kind of the same thing. You're not on a lot of the social medias that can really make a difference for your businesses. And it's all communication and passion about what it is you love. So if there are any questions?
Yeah, I think we're gonna wait. They're transporting a microphone to our Q&A section of the room. And once that's hooked up, we can have some questions for Nico. So please come up. Any questions for Nico in particular? If not, she'll obviously be able to answer some questions at the end of the workshop. We have one.
Testing. I'm Kat Tracy with Akaku, and I was wondering, I don't know if it's going to come up later in the conversation with everyone else at the table, but we currently have our Facebook as a page, and there's only so much it allows you to do and not do. Would you suggest it not be a page from somebody else's side, or does it make a difference?
Having a
as to-
page gives you a platform. And if you have a profile page that's on a specific person, so having a page gives you an area in which to put in all videos or anything that's happening daily. There are all sorts of things you could be doing with that. And you can incorporate different apps into Facebook. If you
So
want.
as opposed to having the organization's Facebook site, we have a page on someone's personal site. Would you suggest that as the?
How it works.
I'm not sure what you're talking
Okay.
about.
I know exactly what you're talking about,
Okay,
actually, Kat. So, what you're bringing up is that with most Facebook pages, when you want to set one up in the first place, you need to go into your personal profile and you need to create a page. And so that is very common. That's the right way to do it. Now, if you're looking to separate a personal profile from a business page, for example, you have interns, you have employees, you have volunteers that don't necessarily need to be connected to your page through their personal profile, there is something called Facebook Business Manager, which allows you to assign people roles on your Facebook page via their business email address as opposed to their personal profile. It's a very cumbersome beast, Facebook Business Manager, but you should know that it exists so that there's that opportunity if you want to explore it. And I didn't plan on diving in too much into that today, but I can answer questions about it if necessary.
I just want to follow up on that. So my experience was is if you started started something under a business name,
Yep.
for instance, a page,
Yep.
that a lot of times they'll flag that page and you won't be able to post content. So it's
Talking
very
about as
limited.
a profile? Like if you were to try to have a profile be a business name?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like so limiting. So like everything, like the Facebook Manager thing, like then it just doesn't work.
Well, I think I don't know what Danielle would say on this too, but I think the optics on that are not great, that you don't want to try to be a profile. To me, it comes off as invasive because of what profiles can do compared to pages. I mean, maybe for some nonprofits, some people might not see it the same way, but
They actually took our page down, like they wouldn't allow us to have the
yeah,
page. They took it down.
it's against their usage policy.
Okay, I just wanted to know if that was the common experience or just our experience.
No.
Comment?
Why are they picking on me? Another question?
We're on Vimeo more than YouTube, and I don't know if you have a sense of if that's a detriment or a benefit, or should we be doing both?
I'll do you one better. You can upload your videos directly to Facebook, and you can create playlists directly on Facebook, and then they live play in the news feed. And since Facebook loves itself, it will be more likely to show your video to people if you're hosting it directly on Facebook. The issue becomes quality, right? You can't have a super high quality video that you're uploading directly to Facebook, and so in that case, using Vimeo is totally fine. But what I would caution against is if you're constantly posting links to Vimeo, then you're going to tip your content. So every time that you post a link on your Facebook page, you're sending people away from Facebook, and Facebook knows that. And they want to keep people on Facebook. So if you post too many links and not enough other stuff, your engagement will drop significantly.
So they are controlling, they're throttling, so to speak. I've noticed that.
And would you say, just anecdotally, my experience with Instagram has been that if you do photos through Instagram, because Facebook owns Instagram, that it will be, right, as opposed to sharing something from, say, a link from your website. If you do something through Instagram, you can sort of circumvent their edge rank.
Yes.
That's kind of a quick question for Nicole. How come you didn't have YouTube on your list?
YouTube was on her list.
Yep.
No, it was on her list. Vimeo wasn't, maybe. Was Vimeo not? Okay.
I'm not seeing YouTube. I'm looking at it. It says diversify. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube.
It was on another page. It was on another page.
Well, still, YouTube is like, to me,
Yeah.
probably more relevant than Facebook in a lot of ways than social media. So,
Okay, let's get one more question based on Nicole's presentation. Can you come up to the mic? Thank you.
Aloha. Nico, you in your chart, you mentioned
Call to action.
call to action as one of them. I always thought that there was a limit to what we can do as far as call to action.
I don't know that there's a limit, but what I know is that people need to be led. And so you need to tell them what you want them to do, whatever content you're going to be using and whatever platform it's going to be.
Is your question on call to action in terms of solicitation?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a specific, I think you're talking about the specific like button, the option within Facebook for call to action, right? As opposed to just
Just
generally.
public access in general.
Oh, you're talking about being
Oh.
commercial?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, this is just, I think what Nico was bringing up is call to action to engage them to follow you, correct? On these social platforms, not necessarily call to action to, correct, buy pizza.
Not to buy
or-
things,
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice.
Oh, yeah, we like pizza.
Tell them specifically to, I think what you were talking about, Nico, is something like, share this video if you agree that blah, 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 or like this
Right.
video if you, call to action is in sharing the content.
Social call
Yeah.
to action, right. All right.
But that's a
All
good clarification.
right, great, all right, let's move forward now with the, you've already met Danielle. Let's move forward to introduce Danielle. Danielle Miller is a social media marketer and small business enthusiast. Her company, Miller Media Management, is the top-rated social media marketing company in Maui, according to Yelp and Google. Speaking of social media, right? Danielle works with companies like Brio Ice Cream and My Home, and is the recipient of the 2016 Mayor's Outstanding Achievement Award for her contribution to the community, working with associations and county resources. She provides seminars and workshops for local businesses, and she's going to talk a little bit about taking a next step in terms of using social media, and this is actually concerning social media advertising. So welcome, Danielle Miller.
Hi, and thank you, everybody. Give me a moment. I'm just going to swap presentations here so I can get my screen up. So, thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I appreciate it.
I can read.
I'm a professional social media marketer, and beyond that, I'm a small business enthusiast. I love helping people connect with their ideal customers through social media. And when I saw all of your hands go up in that you guys have these Facebook pages, I'm curious to know as to how many of you realize the huge change that took place on Facebook in January 2015. So a little over a year ago, what happened is Facebook changed its algorithm so that if you have 1,000 people who like your Facebook page and you put up a post, you put up a great picture or you post a video, it used to be that 10 to 20% of your fans would see that post. After January 2015, we're closer to 2% of your fans seeing that post. So to put it in perspective, we're talking about if you had 100 fans on your Facebook page, 2 people seeing it. If you had 1,000 fans on your Facebook page, 20 people seeing it. And Facebook has done this because they're a for-profit company, and they do need a way to make revenue and fund what they're providing all of us, fund this tool. And this is where social advertising comes in. So in order to reach the rest of the people who have already volunteered, liked your page, and said, I want to hear from you, you now need to have a small advertising budget for doing things such as boosting posts or running ads. And that is what I'm here to share with you today, are the type of ads that you can run. And I want to give you an expectation of how much they'll cost you and at what stage in your growth you should be using which ads. I'm going to focus on Facebook because I'm seeing that that's going to be the most relevant for everyone in the room. But in case anybody's around after the official presentation, I also have experience running ads on Pinterest. And you can run ads on Twitter, you can run them on LinkedIn, you can run them, I have experience running them on Instagram. So know that there are other options outside of Facebook, but seeing that our problem with reach is on Facebook and that the majority of you all are on there, let's dive in to the types of ads you might use on Facebook. I loved how one of you already brought up the question, how do we attract an audience in the first place? Right? What happens is everybody goes, I'm going to get on Facebook and I'm going to put up a Facebook page and I'm going to post 2 or 3 times a week. And it's going to be awesome. Everybody's going to see my stuff. They're going to like it. They're going to comment on it. They're going to share it. And for the first 6 months, it's crickets. Not because your content isn't amazing and engaging, but because there's simply no audience listening. And so when you're first starting your Facebook page, and up until the point where you have at least 500 likes on your Facebook page, you need to focus on building that audience. And one way to do that is through page-like ads. This would give you the opportunity to use very specific targeting to decide what type of people you want in your audience. The beauty of targeting on Facebook is that we get to get down to a detailed level so specific that it's really not offered on any other advertising platform. Just like other advertising platforms, we have demographic information that we can use for targeting. We have general interests. So I'm looking to target women 18 to 29 who like crafting. Sure, that's a pretty specific audience. What Facebook allows you to do is go 2 levels deeper. Now you can go on and you can get more specific into their behaviors. So I'm not only looking for this woman who is 18 to 29 into crafting, but I want her to have a behavior of making online purchases. I want her to have a behavior of traveling for business. So you can start to base it on somebody's behaviors. And one level deeper, where you can get into with page-like ads and all targeting, so across all the ads we're about to talk about, is that you can also run your targeting based on someone's connections. Show my page-like ad to somebody who has a friend with a birthday coming up in the next 30 days. Run my ad to somebody who is friends of somebody who is newly engaged. So now we can do it based on someone's connections to somebody else who has a life event happening. Now, with page-like ads, really what I want you to take away from this is for roughly 5 cents to 30 cents per fan, you can get somebody to like your Facebook page, right? So if you keep running these page-like ads to this ideal target customer, and you're spending, let's call it 25 cents per like, and you get those 1,000 likes, you know what happens next? You make a post, and only 20 of them see it. You still have the same problem once you have the audience. But now you have the opportunity to use boost posts. Has anybody seen that big blue button sitting at the bottom of your post? Have you accidentally clicked on it? Because Facebook does that intentionally. They put it right where they want you to click so that you'll click on it. So a boost post is another name for a post engagement ad. It's in essence paying Facebook $5 roughly. The budget is completely flexible. It can be anywhere from $5 to $2,000 if you wanted, to send your post, to put it in the news feed of the people who like your page. You actually get 3 options, though, when you boost a post. Not only can you pay to send your message to the people who have liked your page, and to put it in perspective, we're talking about investing $5 to get 1,000 views on your video, to get 100 clicks to your website. I mean, when you put it in perspective of advertising, it's quite affordable. But the other options that exist on Boost Post is that you can also send this post, this Facebook post, whatever it is, a link or a video or a status, you can send it to your fans and their friends. In which case, when the ad shows in somebody's news feed, it'll say, Sally Joe likes Akaku, and then it'll show your post to them. And it's a great way to start expanding your audience based on a few ripples. You start to get a couple layers deeper into somebody's community or their friends and family. It's very influential. Millennials need to know that not only, they don't only need to know that they're confident that they like your video. They need to know that all their friends also like your video. That's what's happening. It's not about our own opinions. It's about the opinions of all of those around us. And so a page post engagement is incredibly powerful because how many of you do more than one type of topic? Like you might talk about schools. You might talk about an education program one day, and you might talk about a church event the next day. And they have completely different audiences. And page post engagement ads allow you to make sure that the right person sees that post. So you have now control of the targeting, control of the audience. And that's one way to boost engagement. Because you talked about how do we boost engagement? How do we get more likes and clicks and shares? One way is to make sure that the right people are seeing that post. Because if it's only appropriate for 10% of your audience, you want to make sure that that 10% gets the opportunity to like, comment, and share on it. Okay, so in the growth stage, up until the point you have about 500 likes on your page, you'll focus on the page like ads. Then you'll start to want to build your relationship, build your engagement. You'll start using page engagement ads. Once you've kind of got those under your belt, you can go outside Boost Post into something called the Power Editor. How many of you guys have ever heard of the Power Editor? Awesome. Okay, I love that you even know what I'm talking about. We should have a coffee after this. I like to get a little bit nerdy with anybody who speaks my lingo when it comes to Power Editor. Power Editor is simply a tool used by professionals to circumvent all of Facebook's rules when it comes to advertising. So if you go to facebook.com/ad/manage, which is where you would go to create an ad, they're going to limit you. They're going to say you only get 90 characters for your status. And, you only get 25 characters for your link headline. If you want to break those rules, if you have a little bit more to say, then you need to use Power Editor, and those rules disappear. It really opens your limitations. So when you're in Power Editor, it's for these next 2 ads we're talking about. So one type of ad you can create using Power Editor is called clicks to web. How many of you would like more website traffic? Right? More people coming to your website to see what you're up to and see if they can participate, whether they're volunteering, using your services, or just watching your content. So clicks to web ads are when you literally are only paying when somebody is clicking the link and ending up on your website. These ads can cost anywhere from 10 cents to $1.50 or $2 per click. Per click. And the variation in price depends on how competitive your audience is. So everybody's trying to reach, the 21 to 35-year-old woman right now because they think she's got a bunch of discrepant, income that they can spend. So that's an expensive audience to reach. But if you're trying to reach, for example, English speakers who live outside the US, interested in maybe one or two controversial topics, then you're able to get very cheap cost per click ads. One takeaway you should know about these clicks to web ads is when they have an image in them. In a clicks to web ad, how many of you have shared a link on your Facebook page and you see the big picture and the headline and the description? That's all it is. It's simply that you're now paying Facebook to show that link post to a specific audience, and you're willing to pay when they click the link and go to your website. So with clicks to web ads, the link image, just FYI, this is a good actionable tip. It needs to have less than 20% text in it. Otherwise, your ad will get refused. Okay, it won't be approved. Next type of ad I want to talk about are video ads. Video ads are incredibly powerful on Facebook because you can get people to watch a video for 1 or 2 cents. The problem is that the average watch time is only 13 seconds. So if you don't capture their attention in that first few moments, then the cost for that video view starts to go up. I've noticed right now I'm getting a video view, an average of 10-second watch for about 2 cents, but a 30-second view is costing about 30 cents. So to put that in perspective. Okay, the last 2 ads I want to introduce you to use something called the Facebook Pixel. How many of you guys are familiar with the Facebook Pixel? All right, how about this? How many of you have ever gone to a website, let's say for example Home Depot, you're shopping for a new refrigerator, and the next day you're on Facebook, and there's that refrigerator in your news feed, right? Okay, so that happens because of a free tool called the Facebook Pixel. The Facebook Pixel lives on your website, and it puts a little memory, a cookie, on somebody's computer when they visit your website, and then you can tell Facebook, I'm willing to send an ad to the people who have viewed this specific page of my website. So if you have a volunteer page on your website, then you can have a pixel on that, and when you need volunteers, you can then send them an ad because you know they're already interested. They've already read the volunteer page of your website. Conversion ads are ads that are optimized for a second step. So if you have a page on your website, maybe it's a contact form. Or even better, maybe it talks about a live event that you have coming up, and it says if you're interested in the event, you want more information, click here. So you can tell Facebook, I want to run an ad for the people who actually hit the click here button and go to the event registration page. So we have the ad, they click it, they land on the event info page, they have to click the button that says I want more information to go onto a third page, a third section. You can tell Facebook I want to optimize for people who get all the way to that third step. And to optimize for it simply means you allow Facebook to track who is clicking. They analyze what that person looks like, what that person's behaviors are, and then they find other people to show your ad to who have similar characteristics. The last ad is the retargeting ad. This is the Home Depot example. This is the refrigerator following you no matter what website you visit. Amazon loves these ads. Absolutely, they do. So it's simply telling Facebook, hey, anybody who visits this specific page of my website, I want you to send this ad to them. I want you to have this ad follow them around Facebook. And in order to do that, you need Facebook pixels. So I am sure that there's questions because social advertising is a fairly new topic to get talking about, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
I actually have one first, Danielle. You talked about how when you have an image that links back to your website, not to have any more than 20% text. What is the reason for that?
It's because Facebook doesn't want the news feed to look like ads. They want the items showing up in the news feed to look like
Just a photo.
like just a photo. Too much text would be too much text.
I thought it had to do with some ADA requirements or some, accessibility, disability type.
Nah, I haven't. Well, it might, but I have not heard that. I've heard
But I think that the issue with that is if you're just posting a photo that's not boosted, you can have whatever, right?
absolutely you can.
I think it would have been the opposite. I'm paying for this ad, right?
So I can do whatever
Why
I want with
shouldn't I be
it.
able to do more than what they're allowing me to do? Right?
Yeah.
I'll add on that really quick. Facebook does have a graph, tool for you to determine whether or not you have more than 20% taken up by text. It's pretty arbitrary.
It's happened to me. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, it's pretty arbitrary in the way that they apply that rule, because it could be taking up less than 20%, but just the way that you've arranged it, it triggers one little extra box on their graph. But there is a way to check it ahead of time. So if you've put all this time into making this ad and you're going to spend money to try to boost it, you should probably run it through this checker to make sure that it's not going to get denied, because it happens to me all the time.
It's called the 20% text overlay tool. And basically, it's just a 5x5 grid. So if you take your image and you do a 5x5 grid across it, you can't have more than 5 of the blocks having text in them.
I was just wondering if the ad blockers that many people put on their computers, if that affects the Facebook algorithm.
I am one of the people who puts ad blockers on my computer, and I see Facebook ads in my newsfeed all the time. Now, in terms of then clicking on the ad and ending up on the site, I haven't had any trouble. So from my personal experience, the ad blockers aren't affecting Facebook ads.
And I just had one other question. Could you address how people are able to put, say, I don't know if anybody else gets this, but like Ray-Ban, you get a Ray-Ban ad on your own page. Somebody posts to your own page. I know you can set up your own privacy settings and all that kind of stuff, but how does that fit into what you're talking about?
Well, I see a lot of that happening on Twitter. For example, right now, if you go to somebody's Twitter profile, like the second post is actually an ad. And that's based on that platform choosing to make that a spot where ads are available. So there's also the right-hand column ads. When you're staring at your Facebook screen, you have the 2 ads there. And again, that's just how the structure of the platform's designed. They call that, it's just an ad slot.
But what if it shows up on your page? I don't know if anybody else has this issue, where you get an actual ad for Ray-Bans. I mean, I just end up
somebody
blocking.
posted it to your timeline?
Yes.
Then you have, as the page admin, you have the option to delete that post.
Which we do.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I just wondered about that, how that works within the, what kind of ad are they doing to be able to do that?
That's not actually, from what I'm hearing, that's not actually an ad. That's somebody going out posting on your timeline.
Okay.
And so it's not ad related. Look for the word sponsored right
Okay.
under their page name. And if it says sponsored, it's an ad. And if it does not, it's simply them spamming your page.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I can add to that. There is a setting that you can do to put any post that somebody posts on your page in a queue. And so that's something you might want to look at in the settings.
And other people don't see those posts by default. You see it as an admin of your page, but they're not available unless somebody digs through a menu.
Or unless you did, for some reason, post it, right, or share it.
If you shared it,
Right,
yeah.
then-
So I've been experimenting with, we've been posting things to our Akaku page, and then I notice it doesn't get a lot of engagement. So then I share the post to my own page, and I can only do that by going to my own site and doing a search on Akaku, and then it comes up, and then it allows me to share to my page or my site. And then if other people are, but because I posted it to my personal profile, and it was originated on Akaku, then other people sharing it, it takes them back to the Akaku page, right? That's kind of helping with the tracking.
It does.
Is that kind of one of, I mean, I'm just playing around, because I did notice that after a certain date, I was like, something's going on.
Yep.
For sure, because the engagement has really shrunk. And like when you have 1,000, we already have over 1,000 people who have liked our
Yeah.
page. We're starting to see really minimal engagement as far as reach, as far as people seeing it. So I've just been playing in-house. So are those things you do to play and not have to pay?
Those are things. So I love the question you're bringing up, which basically boils down to how the heck do you get more reach without having to pay? And there is a faster method for sharing to your own page. When you're on Akaku and you're staring at the post that you want to share, look in the bottom right-hand corner, and it'll show the Akaku profile picture.
Very small.
Very, very small. Click on it, and you'll be able to switch to yourself, and then you can hit the share button. Stop showing you in the option.
So I posted to Akaku, and then I'm thinking, I'll just share it right here by changing users.
Yep.
Right.
But it stopped showing it recently.
The other.
Showing my profile, I have to go to my own page, find Akaku, and then it allows me to.
Here's another super easy workaround. Look at the date on the post, click the date on the post, and then that will give you a unique URL for that post that you just copy and paste onto your own timeline. And so that's a super simple thing. But I love the question, and I think everybody probably wants to know the question, how do you get more reach without paying for ads? And there is something called a social archery team. And this is when you start to use your network. So, like, for example, Nicole so beautifully put the importance of networking in the first part of the presentation. And so if you use your network and you find out your community partners, you find out the churches, the schools, the other organizations who you are trying to help, and you say, I really need you guys to be my first wave of comments, likes, and shares on my posts, that tricks Facebook into understanding that your post is popular, because according to their algorithm, you're getting a lot of engagement on a post, and then they naturally show it to more people for free. So develop a social media archery team of anywhere from 8 to 10 other people and commit to commenting on each other's posts. The more important things are the comments and shares. Likes are basically, they're
Comment.
they're just for show. They must be, definitely comment. Comment is huge, and share is obviously helpful because it shows it to their entire network.
Okay, one more question that came up for me is, we do have a lot of diverse types of content we're posting on a daily basis. You know, I'm promoting a community TV show. I'm promoting my youth program. We're promoting broadband literacy. We're promoting governmental things. There's so much going on. So you were talking about that targeting. I did create another page for our youth program, but I call it Feeding the Beast. It's just another layer of trying to engage people to a specific targeted thing. What do you suggest as far as the best way for that diverse type of content that you talked about earlier?
I love that. So you can set a preferred audience. You can tell Facebook, if you're only going to show my ad to 20 of 1,000 people, these 20 people better be interested in this type of stuff. In order to do that, you're going to go to your settings in your Facebook page, and you're going to go down to general settings, and about, a quarter of the way down the general settings, there's an option called newsfeed targeting and post visibility, and you need to turn that feature on. Once that feature is turned on, you get a little target underneath your post where it says, where you're on your Facebook page and says, what are you up to? And you're going to type your status, and on the bottom there's the little emoji, smile sign, the location pinpoint thing. You'll get a fifth icon that looks like a little target. And when you click on that, you can tell Facebook who your preferred audience is based on their interests. So you can say, I want to show this post to people interested in youth activities, community events, and you can list all of those interests.
I have one more question. Back to her question, which she was kind of getting at, like the more she shared, it seems like she got blocked a little bit somehow. I've noticed the same thing. Like we have probably 12, because we make a Facebook for every project. So we have
A Facebook page for every project?
Facebook project page. So we have 4 projects in one city, and they each have their own page, and they each have more than 2,000 followers. Maybe
Great.
2,500 followers. So what we'll do is we'll post to that page, and then we'll share from that one to the other one, to the other one, to the other one, and then if it's relevant, we'll share it to another city. the same thing. But I've noticed that it's hindering us from sharing. And I don't know if that's a new thing. I wondered if Facebook, like, because it's all tied to an individual.
So the workaround is click on the date, copy the link, and you'll always be able to share that way. So click on the date of the post. That will take you to a unique URL for specifically that post. And then when you go to the other page, you just paste that link, and that automatically creates a share. And in fact, in that way, you can pre-schedule your shares. I love that.
One more question, then we need to get to our other presenter.
So say I'm interested in this idea of social advertising. How do I pay for this stuff? How do I work with Facebook on this?
Yep. So you need an ad account, and then you can connect your ad account to a credit card or a PayPal account. And
how do I access the ad account?
Facebook.com/ads/manage. All right. Thanks, you guys. And Michelle, I can't wait to hear your presentation.
Our final presenter today is, as I mentioned, also a member of the ACM National Board. Michelle Alamirati has worked as a freelance radio and TV producer for many years. She also has been involved with several youth media programs, serving both in outreach and recruitment, as well as a production instructor. She's coordinated the pop-up radio TV makerspace, Really Rad Radio and TV Takeover at the Allied Media Conferences since 2013. Michelle also briefly served as a social media and online outreach intern for Democracy Now!, many of us who telecast Democracy Now! She is now the marketing manager at Tightrope Media Systems, and I'm pleased to welcome Michelle Alamirati.
Okay. I don't use PowerPoint very much. This is a social media presentation. So I was sort of my plan was sort of thwarted by the lack of internet access in this room. I was going to actually go and like demo some cool things for you. Yeah, we've explored all of those options. So I'm just going to kind of wing it and talk about these things. And this presentation with live links will be made available to you. And you can certainly, I think my contact information is at the end of this presentation. If not, I have cards here, and I'm happy to connect with you to get more detailed into some of the things I was going to demonstrate today. So very happy to be here, first of all. I'll say this is my first ACM West conference, so I'm excited to engage with this network. And if any of you were at the ACM Northeast conference by chance, you might recognize this presentation because I gave a very similar one there. So what I wanted to talk about was some of the most useful things that I learned about social media was when I was at Democracy Now! They rely very, very heavily on social media to get their content out. The caveat, and Kat brought this up, is that Democracy Now! Has been around for a really long time. They syndicate on a lot of different stations, so the aspect of building a network didn't necessarily come into play when I was learning things there. They've had this long-standing audience, and at this point, they trickle in another 100 to 200 likes a day. That's not uncommon, and your situation will be a little bit different. But some of these just little tips and tricks for just the intern that you have doing social media, or for the 10 minutes a day that you have to focus on social media, is kind of what I want to talk about here. So this is getting better. Facebook has made some updates in regards to being able to control how your post looks. When you post a link to a video or to an article or something on your site, I just want to make sure everyone knows that you're aware that you can you can cater that post. You don't have to rely on just exactly what Facebook pulls when it drags your site initially. There are a couple of tools. The Facebook debugger is a really useful tool that, again, this link is live in the presentation that you can get through, I don't know how it's being shared, through the conference.
Probably through the conference, you'll probably get an email from the conference organizers about getting access to all of the presentations that were here, obviously after the event.
Yeah, so I used to use this tool a lot when, have you guys ever tried to post a link and it doesn't pull the image? And it has to do with the way that that image is tagged in the infrastructure of your website or your CSS or whatever. So it used to be very useful for being able to have Facebook sort of go back and look at your page again and say, oh, I didn't catch this initial image tag, but now I'm seeing it. Now, Facebook, just by default, when you are posting a link, will give you the option to update or to upload your own custom images to your post. So you have a little bit more control there, and you can also upload a whole gallery of images with each post. I wouldn't recommend doing more than 2 or 3, but you have much more control with that. And the other thing is people don't always understand that you can have custom language with your posts as well. So you don't, if you're sharing something from another station or you're sharing something from YouTube, but you want to cater it to a Facebook audience, you can change up the language that is shown for the title of the link and also the short description below it. And that can make a difference as far as the big, mysterious Facebook algorithm and how it pulls information about people. You can sort of put in buzzwords and things like that.
Can I just add, it also makes it more personable. We do this at Florida Community Media, where if we're linking to something on our web page, it may pull in that link that you'll see, may pull in, FRC Media, blah, 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 blah. But we may want to simplify it to say, here's our latest newscast. It'll pull in the information based on the metadata from your website, but you may want to customize what that link says to people. And if you hover over the link, I believe it turns yellow. Yes. It turns yellow. And you can just click on that before you post, before you hit post. You click on that yellow, it'll allow you to change what that title actually is of the link. You can actually customize that.
Yep, and I go a step further, and I actually always make sure that my titles are within the character limit so that it's not getting cut off with an ellipse. I want to have complete control over the exact language that people are seeing when I create that post. And I also go through and there's tons of sites out there if you just do a general Google search of templates so that you can ensure that all of your images are optimized for the particular display on whatever platform it is that you're using. I would definitely recommend doing that. I mean, if you've ever seen somebody who's posted a cover photo on their page and everyone's head's cut off, it's like their family photo, and you just see like all their torsos. That irks me. There are templates for that. You can fix that so that you're seeing exactly, so that other people are seeing exactly what you want them to see when you're putting an image up on social media. They publish all of those specs, so you can go through, pop it into Photoshop or whatever photo editor you use, and optimize your images for that particular platform's display. I will say I find YouTube and Twitter to be the most annoying because of what they pull is so varied. So like for YouTube, from device to device, they pull very odd parts of like your cover photo and stuff, so it makes it a little bit more difficult if it's not something that's just like a continuous pattern or something, or just a simple logo. And Twitter is also weird because it'll pull like the center third of an image in some cases, and then it'll also display it as a rectangle in some instances or a square in some instances, so you kind of really have to focus on like the center part of the image. So just being mindful of little details like that as a media organization can really set you apart, make you look more professional. A lot of businesses, for-profit businesses, do not spend the time to make sure that these things look optimized for the particular platform, and that can really go a long way. And I'd say that if you're going to spend the time being on social media, you might as well make it look nice, right? So that's my stance, right? Is if you're going to invest any time at all, you might as well try to make it look the best you can, get the most out of your time. So on that note, we talked about images, we talked about custom language. Don't be embarrassed, but how many of you feel like you understand how hashtags work? It's not uncommon. I get asked all the time, what's the difference between a Twitter handle and a Twitter hashtag, or just a handle and a hashtag, or people just, they don't fundamentally understand how to use these tools, but they can be very helpful. Particularly, I would suggest hashtags for events like this, for conferences. It makes so much sense to aggregate related types of content using hashtags when it's an event, when it's a particular campaign. If you want to have a social media campaign a likes campaign, create a hashtag for that. Anything, calls to action can have a hashtag related to that campaign. Those are things that anyone can use with the little pound sign in front of it that will aggregate content from any account. So it doesn't matter where the content, which account it originated from. Somebody can click on that link, that hashtag link, and it will bring up all of these related types of content. Side note, when you pick a hashtag for something, research that hashtag first. Make sure it's not being used for something else. Peg is not a good hashtag. Let me just say, anything with peg in it is unfortunately not good for this, for sharing our kinds of aggregate content. It has other connotations. So, we struggle with that with ACM. There's not a lot of nice, concise hashtags out there that still communicate our message. So it's something that you want to do a little research on. Yes.
How? Because I've tried and I don't know where that.
How to do hashtag research? So write down, as you're doing your planning for your event, your campaign, whatever it is that you're trying to promote, write down 5 or 6 hashtags. Try to keep them short. Shorter is better, particularly for Twitter, because if your hashtag's long, you're using up all your characters. And as we've talked about before, if you go beyond a certain character count on any platform, it's going to start to cut you off. It's going to do a little ellipse. So I would say try to keep them short. I like less than 10 characters if I can. Write down like 5 potential hashtags that you want to use, and then you just literally you Google them. You can do it in a platform itself, like you could search in Twitter, you could search in Facebook. I do Google as well, just because then that's bringing me everything. So here's a classic dilemma I have. I work at Tightrope Media Systems. Our website is TRMS. Our Twitter is TRMS. And guess who else is also TRMS? The Rachel Maddow Show. Wow. So we've spent all this time, I've done all this research. I've even looked at selling our Twitter handle, which is illegal, by the way, I found out, to Rachel Maddow and finding something else, because we get so much, as you could probably imagine, inflammatory things that people tag us in thinking that they're talking about to Rachel Maddow. So I've politely, and you can do this too. I had an issue at SPNN where, I don't know if this is an issue anymore, but there used to be these community pages. And if a community page, which was sort of just somehow generated from Wikipedia entries way back in the day, they would both come up in a search, and we had to spend all this time basically just getting people to go to the right page, the one that we had control over, and not the community page. So what I do in this case with the mix-up of TRMS is in Twitter, I will reply to someone, which only goes to the person that I have sent that reply to. It doesn't show up in my public Twitter feed. I will just politely tell them, please note, we are not affiliated with
Rachel Maddow, and I put their handle in there so people know this is the handle you want to tweet to. And I say, we're not them, and we are not affiliated with them. Just please note that. Please spread the word.
But they
And-
add P.S. We agree. No.
Yeah. And it's getting better, but we still get a lot of, obviously with the election, we get a lot of things. And I get really excited when I log into Twitter. How am I doing on time? Really quick.
We've got about maybe we have 10 minutes left in the session, so.
Okay, I'll be quick. So I get really excited when all of the notifications are actually pertaining to us and not Rachel Maddow when I log into Twitter.
So I'm just so quick.
Yep.
So you can't control necessarily where it's gonna go if somebody else is getting a lot of, pound.
You have very little control over hashtags, and that is a good point to bring up because you don't want to overuse hashtags. I would say use them sparingly and use them very thoughtfully and try to be as efficient as possible. Think broadly, but also do your research. Make sure that there's not some, hate group that's using your hashtag, So that's my advice on hashtags. Did I skip a slide? No, I think this is good.
Facebook, I see a lot of people have a bunch of hashtags. Is that because it carries over from an Instagram post? Is that what's
Probably. Now, that's Instagram, and that's an exception. People definitely grow their network in Instagram using lots of hashtags, and that is to be encouraged. I say if I'm going to share something from Instagram to Facebook, I usually put those hashtags in later. So I'll put whatever it is I want to show up on Facebook and Twitter. If I'm sharing it from Instagram, I would put whatever the caption is, share it, and then I'll go back and post all my hashtags. It's a process. This is the thing that we should have started with. Social media can be a lot of work, and I think, was it Nico, were you the one that said, start with one and then... You have to be very present on social media, I think, for it to really make an impact. I mean, it was at Democracy Now!, we had 4 people every day that spent the first 5 hours of the day completely focused on social media and online outreach. That was all you started at 7 a.m., and we worked till 3 entirely on social media. And that is why Democracy Now! Has, millions of followers and fans. Because they really invest in that. And they don't spend any money. They don't ever pay to boost posts. They think purely on buzzwords and purely on making sure that every post is optimized for that particular platform. So they're not, and I also don't do this, I don't automate posts from one platform to another. Some people will set it up where everything they put on Facebook goes to Twitter. I do not do that because Facebook doesn't have the same requirements that Twitter does. So if I'm going to put something on Twitter, because I find it to be the least forgiving of all social media platforms, I make sure that I'm thinking of how Twitter works and who is on Twitter and who I interact with most on Twitter, and I put that all into exactly how I frame that post. Yes.
And do you find you're getting different audiences and that they have different proclivities from?
Definitely. I'll say, our Tightrope has a kind of a niche, it's a niche market. And I find there's a very distinct difference between the people that we engage with on Facebook and the people that we engage with on Twitter. Those are the accounts I spend the most time on. We also have an Instagram. You can follow us, Tightrope Media Systems. We have a Pinterest. But I spend most of my time on Twitter and Facebook. And Facebook, we do way more interaction with personal friends, I find. People who know us personally, people that we meet at these conferences. Because I focus it that way. I put pictures of us together. I put event photos because I find that those are the things that get the most organic engagement. People like seeing photos of themselves. They like recalling fun times that they had, and that's how we stay connected because you guys are our friends, right? And so that is how we stay connected with you as a brand. Twitter is much more corporate for our engagement. It's much more, we're talking to other manufacturers, we're engaging with like the large trade shows we go to, like National Association of Broadcasters, things like that. And you get a lot of free press being on Twitter and treating it that way. So it's very different. And I don't, in my anecdotal experience, I don't see as much access activity, ACM activity on Twitter. I don't see a lot of active accounts. And I do consciously always try to tag them and have conversations when I do find active accounts. Really quick. So I was going to talk a little bit about efficiency with volunteers and things like that. I think we don't really have enough time, and it's a,
Yeah, I want to open up for more questions.
yeah, I'm not going to go into it, but if you all have questions about how to get the best out of volunteer work with social media, we can do that later. I'm sorry.
I had a quick question about Twitter and the image optimization.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I see it's a link when you post a picture, and sometimes it's the actual image that comes up. Is there a way that you can set it where it's always the image? Because the clicking on the link is an extra step.
If it's from your own, if it's from your own website, you can alter things within your CSS or whoever your web manager is. You can alter things from your own website to optimize those posts. And I would suggest doing it if you can, because then when you have share buttons on your website, which you all should, you got a blog post or a video or whatever right here, there's a Facebook share button right here. It's super easy, and you can optimize on your end how that share button is going to look. You have to maintain that. Like, Facebook changes its APIs, things can change, so you got to keep an eye on it. But yeah, from your end, you can control that. You can control how other people's websites are built, and that's why there's all these tools to circumvent what it's going to do by default. And that's where I would say just find, if you think there's a photo on that page that you want to go with that link, and it's someone else's website, just save that photo quick and then upload it.
But then, like I said, sometimes you upload it and it's a link that you still have to click on to even look at the picture. And sometimes when you upload it to Twitter, it's just the picture up there, which I prefer.
Oh, on Twitter. I'm sorry. I was not following you that you were on Twitter. Twitter makes it difficult. They make you pay. That's my understanding. It's like, unless you are generating that original tweet, in which case you can upload the photo yourself with the link. I think you have to pay if you want it to automatically pull the photo in, right? With Twitter.
Twitter cards.
Yeah, for Twitter card, but that's a paid service, right? No?
You can get Twitter cards.
Okay. I've done research into Twitter cards. I don't know that much about them.
They're quite complicated.
Yeah. When I looked into it, I thought that they were now only offering that as a paid service, but I am not going to claim to be an expert on that. Whenever I post things and I want an image to go with it, I do it manually.
We have a few other minutes for questions. Just one other quick note. I'm on Twitter, and I did a hashtag ACM West. There are a couple of posts on this conference there. I don't know. I didn't see anything that's the formal hashtag for this conference, but I know that Danielle posted something 4 hours ago with the hashtag ACM West. So I don't know what the hashtag is, if there is one.
I've been using ACM West.
Okay.
Love that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I just had a question back, whoever wants to respond to this, but the automation of social media, for instance, if you use Constant Contact or MailChimp or something like that, and then it has the ability to, which I personally love. So, I'm just wondering, because you brought it up, and I'm just, how is that? Is it annoying to people? To me, it's awesome, because I don't have to think about it, and then it's out there, and we get more action off of it.
I would say Facebook is not the one to do that for, because Facebook, it does everything to optimize itself. It doesn't like third parties. I find that my engagement is really low when I automate things to Facebook, unless you're using their own native schedule post feature. that's different. But Facebook does not like you to use other things like Hootsuite or something like that, which I use for Twitter because Twitter is purely time decay. There's no prioritization beyond timing.
I was just gonna say, the same is true on video, even more so. I post a lot of video, obviously. And Facebook, if I post it to YouTube, for example, and then port that over, I get nothing. If I upload the same thing to Facebook, I get a gazillion hits. They just, they prioritize their own content.
Any other questions? If not, I'm sure our panelists will be here for questions after, but
I have a
did you have another? Nico?
We were talking about hashtags, and you can actually research them. There's an app that you could use. It's tagboard.com. Tagboard, Tagboard, Tagboard. Yeah, and it'll show you how successful they are and what information about it. So.
Nice.
Since we're talking about hashtags, I'll give one more resource because you guys all have your pens out. It's called Twubs, Twubs, twubs.com. You can register a hashtag. From my personal experience, it's not like legally you're registering it, but technically you are claiming it as your hashtag. So if you do get something, you might want to add that in. Twubs, Twubs.
Yeah, it
Correct.
just flows right off the tongue.
A
Yeah.
question on, I noticed that if the people who have liked the Akaku page aren't friends of mine, but they're in a post because they're part of a show or something, and they liked it, you can't tag them. I have to tag people from my own site who are who have liked or friends of mine or something. Is there any way around that? 'Cause that's
There isn't a way around it. Pages cannot tag people. So even when they're your friend and it allows you to tag them in the post, as soon as you hit publish, the tag gets removed. So pages cannot tag people. They can only tag other pages.
You can put the @ symbol, however, in the message, and that will often bring up the person you want to tag. So if you do the @ symbol and then the name, usually it'll, it
Even
doesn't
in
happen.
Facebook?
Yes, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen.
Make a note, though, what I use to engage people on Facebook a lot, and Twitter too, but I find Facebook in particular because you're trying to circumvent all these, Facebook is trying to thwart all your efforts to be in front of your fans. I tag organizations. I tag other pages. And then fans of those pages will often start to see it organically as well. And then also, sharing it to your personal page and then tagging people that way, you can do. I certainly recommend on Twitter @mentioning people, which is their handle, right? So the @ symbol and then whatever their handle is.
so the organization doesn't have to be a friend or a like page.
No, sometimes it's finicky, sometimes it's quirky, and it helps if you do like the page. And I do it anyway because it's kind of a, when you like theirs, they tend to like yours back, and then, you both grow your audiences.
Any other questions, comments? Please thank our panel for their participation. And I want to personally thank you for your hospitality. Just got note that when I head back to New England in a few days, I'm going to be met with 6 to 12 inches of snow. So maybe I just won't leave. All right, thank you again.
Thank you so much.